Yo, what's up guys? Impervious back with another video here on my channel. It has been a long time since I've uploaded a real video again, which normally I do post shorts, but this time I'm coming with a good packing real video. And this real video has an updated Assassin's Creed Shadows build for Naoe specifically. And surprisingly, this build is only using one weapon. But stay tuned, because I can confirm this is the build I'm going to use forever and ever, as an endgame build for Naoe. This is my first option when I'm using Naoe every single time, and it has not failed me ever since. And I can also recommend to you that you try this build out one time and tell me in the comments if you liked it or not. But for now, enjoy the video. What you probably noticed at first, and you're wondering about, why do I have empty gear? Why don't I have a secondary weapon? And I'm giving you the reason. Because this build is specifically trained to only use one weapon. And we can begin with the trinket that I have, Omikadi's Feast, plus 15% to stats with only a Tanto equipped, and plus any perk. I chose 10% chance to refill a tool on kill. What this actually does is, we sadly can't see detailed stats, that's not in the game right now, but it gives a 15% stat boost to all of my buffs, stats, whatever it may be, and it's just a really good trinket to have because it's Tanto specific, and it's really good. But now, onto my Tanto that is actually has to do with my trinket, the Scarlet Fate. I have two perks on there, two of them legendary. Increased impact with all attacks. This is pretty good because the Tanto doesn't really have any good impact. It only does like a few damage, and you really have to have a good build. You have to have good stats to make a Tanto really work, But the good thing about it is that it's pretty quick, And the other perk, which I'm going to later onto the abilities, which it has an ability perk. Shadow Piercer now removes 2 health segments on hit. So now, when I hit an enemy with the Shadow Piercer ability, and now automatically removes 2 health segments on hit. And sometimes there are enemies, the low-level enemies, with only 1 armor bar and only 1 health bar, or even without the armor bar. They're just 1 hit. I could just 1 hit range Shadow Piercer them, And later, there's a perk even that actually increases the range from 10 meters to 15 meters. So I have a far out ability range assassin kill. But now, onto my armor, which the headgear Master Assassin hood. Ground attacks now remove 2 health segments on hit, plus any perk, and the light armor Master Assassin gear. Plus 2 health segments removed on assassinations, and the other legendary perk is attacks have a 3% chance to remove 1 health segment on hit. First off, the Master Assassin hood. Ground attacks now remove 2 health segments on it, so anytime I'm doing a ground attack, just fighting in normal combat and hitting anything, I can just remove 2 health segments on it. And with my quick Tanto, with my reliable and quick Tanto, but sadly short range, I can just sometimes even crit someone out. So just instantly like making him dead, And where I always say any perk, you can just put any perk, but you can see in the video that I have a specific perk equipped, but like I said, it doesn't matter, But now into the light armor. Plus 2 health segments removed on assassinations is the main perk. I just do 2 extra health segments remove on assassinations. And with that, I have another legendary perk called attacks have a 3% chance to remove 1 health segment on hit. Yeah. So if I do just a normal attack, I have a chance to not even, put 2 on the Master Assassin Hood, health segments on hit, attacks, but now have a 3% extra chance to remove another health segment on hit, which means I can just sometimes even, put 3 health segments output damage. And in combination with the Scarlet Fate Tanto, which has the bleed effect, when it's filled up, the bleed effect, the bleed affliction, it just puts another chunk of health away, That is the crazy part about this build. You can sometimes just crit the enemy out completely. That's what makes this build so intense and so good to use, It's just about the health segment remove and the crit chances and the abilities as well, Which, just like I said, it's an amazing build. It's absolutely insane, It's absolutely crazy that you can put just a couple things, with any perk, whether it be normal or a legendary perk, to make this build as effective as it is, with the abilities, with the tools you have and projectiles and everything beyond that, And with your skill and creativity, you can make this build unstoppable for Naoe, But of course, preference are still preferred, But now I want to talk about the abilities in depth. Now we're coming to the first ability, which I've already mentioned, the Shadow Piercer. Throw the Tanto, then dash forward to stab the target and make them vulnerable, dealing 80% ability damage with each strike. This ability is specifically good for the Tanto if you want to quickly close the gap, And with my build specifically, this ability is pretty good because, remember, 2 health segments removed with Shadow Piercer, And now, coming on to the Tanto passive ability for this specific ability, This ability perk, Shadow Reach. Increase Shadow Piercer throw distance by 10 meters, which I've already said, upgraded now by 15 meters, And I'm also increasing the Shadow Piercer damage by 60%, Not only that, I not only have a projectile style assassination, with an ability, I also do more damage, which specifically for me works the best because when I'm in combat and I don't want to close the gap, but I don't want to get close to the enemy, I can just do that, Which now leads me to the second ability that I use for the Tanto, specifically the Hidden Hand. Seize your Tanto and extend the Hidden Blade in its classic form to perform an assassination while in combat. When you are close to the enemy, when Shadow Piercer doesn't work because you're close to the enemy, you can use Hidden Hand to perform just an assassination, like the normal ones, in combat, This is specifically pretty good to not only force a stealth encounter again, but not to deal with the enemy at all, which is pretty good, And for my build specifically, of course. But now, onto the Tanto passive ability perk, which is Broken Spirit. Hidden Hand cannot be blocked or parried. Bosses reduce damage to 3 health segments with Hidden Hand. And now it decreases the cooldown with Hidden Hand by 10%, and on the upgrade by 13%. Think about this ability because it can save your life. But now, moving on onto the second ability, and third ability, which is Heightened Senses. While undetected, time slows down around Naoe for 8 seconds aborts on enemy contact. This is just the first like version of this ability. This is a shinobi specific ability, but you can use it on any build. You can use it on anything, you know. But it's pretty good for Naoe. It's pretty good for your stealth encounters because you then have more time to plan your things and move through them. Because, for example, you saw some examples by me throwing a smoke bomb, you know, and then using this ability. You know, it works so well because sometimes the enemies, the higher level enemies, they like to walk out of the smoke. You know, which you just activate the ability. You know, and the time around Naoe is slowed down. You know, and you can just act quick, and boom, your target is dead. Which now leads me to the better version of heightened senses, which is critical insight. This is not, believe me when I say this, it is not an upgrade of the ability. It is another ability itself. Duration of heightened senses is reset on a successful assassination. Can only be set once per activation. And +1 health segment removed on assassinations during heightened senses. So not only, you know, you get the reset from the ability, you also deal +1 health segments more to remove on assassinations during the time of the ability. You know? So now you have 2 chances of time slow, and you get +1 health segments. +2, I mean. You know? You remove 2 health segments with just 1 activation. And within itself, it's just insane. This ability, you know, is probably one of the best abilities you can use for Naoe, and specifically for stealth, you know, which you can only do in stealth. You cannot activate the ability in combat, sadly. Now, the question for me is, and for you as well, would you recommend this build? If so, like the video, subscribe, because I definitely do recommend this build. That's why I'm making this video. And like I said, if you like this video, if you enjoyed it, share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any more Assassin's Creed content. And see you in the next one. And enjoy the rest of the clips.
いがものを侮るな。